Hello guys, tonight Ukrainian drones have attacked military objects in 9 Russian regions. This is good news, but it does not seem as something extraordinary. A couple of days ago, I've reported about another 100 of Ukrainian drones targeting military objects in 11 Russian regions. And that is why today I don't want to be your Russian geography teacher focusing on locations of the destroyed military objects, but I want to be your Russian logics teacher, demonstrating you this huge gap between the way the Kremlin tries to depict the situation in Russia and what really happens there. Because more and more of the Russian population come to realize war is back to the Russian Federation. War is very real for lots of Russian regions, together with the collapsing economy and totally fake news. Because you won't see any reaction of the Kremlin goblin or his mafioso friends on these very real attacks that Russians witness. Russians share tons of videos with millions of very dirty comments. This is the new reality of Russia that Putin tries to distort and hide from people abroad. And why is it so important to understand that war is already destroying Russia? In the moment when more and more people talk about agreements, negotiations, or appeasement of Putin. Definitely not the time. So let's discuss this recent large attack inside the Russian Federation, why Kremlin keeps ignoring the news, and what does this real Russian population think about the situation. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia and also protect yourself against hybrid Russian warfare, subscribe, we discuss all of that on the channel. And let's start with this fresh news from the Russian Federation. Tonight, Ukrainian drones were working hard and loud in 9 Russian regions, and I love making this list. So tonight, they have visited Kursk, Bryansk, Smolensk, Tver, Nizhny Novgorod, Kaluga, Belgorod, Rostov, and Leningrad regions. That is a lot. I clearly remember how at the very beginning of my vlog that I started with this full-scale invasion, looking for the support of people and trying to tell more about Ukrainian civilian life. And many of you good friends did not believe Ukraine can survive more than, I don't know, a week, a month. But then I remember reporting about first attacks of Ukrainian drones on Russian military objects close to the Ukrainian border. And when one Ukrainian drone was able to destroy a small oil depot somewhere close to the front lines, I felt so proud. And right now, we have hundreds of Ukrainian drones visiting lots of important Russian military objects in dozens of Russian regions. And they do these visits a couple of times, they repeat them. They are unstoppable. There is nothing that the Russian air defense can do. Russian propaganda cannot hide these fires and explosions because once again we always choose legitimate objects, and you know legitimate objects, military, oil objects, they explode, they detonate, and you cannot hide it. And there are tons and tons and tons of Russian videos with very bad Russian language describing what they think about Russian war in Russia. Russian war in Russia. It is always like that. It's not just karma, it's logics. Think about different wars started in different corners of the world. Very often they return back home to the initiator, and it's in Russia. So let's start with these objects that were neutralized tonight, and they are huge. First of all, this is a very big oil depot in Nizhny Novgorod region, the one that belongs to Lukoil. And I personally think that Lukoil is another once very rich Russian corporation that will be soon cancelled just as Gazprom. Subscribe to see the Kremlin cancelled and share these videos on your social media platforms to demonstrate people what is really happening in Russia. Because if you listen to Russian propagandists, everything is just according to the plan. And part of the plan is to destroy military objects everywhere in Russia. If that's the plan, I don't mind. So another very big arsenal was targeted in Tver, but another good target inside that same region was an oil depot, Transneft Baltica, which is vital for an oil pipeline Surgut-Polotsk. I have to put down these words because with each day there are more and more of the Russian locations visited by the Ukrainian drones in our strategy to demilitarize the evil empire. So we may officially say that apart from gas problems and, problems with Gazprom, and also Ukraine ended the transit of the Russian gas, which is a loss for the budget of the Kremlin, approximately $5-6 billion they will not get just because we've ended that transit. And now oil is targeted with the US sanctions, and good news that even old supporters of Putin in India and China decided to stop purchasing Russian oil and do not accept shadow fleet tankers in that ports. That's very bad, and they do it, and that's important. And right now we keep burning their oil refineries and depots, and that is why I think that Lukoil will be another victim of the Russian war in Ukraine. So lots of these depots targeted in different regions, I will not enumerate all of them, were on fire. And most importantly, these are not just like tankers with oil. These are various parts of the production of oil products. For example, in Smolensk, Rosneft, it was a part of the ethylene production facility, which is important for oil products. And this is a disaster for the Russian war machine and for the Russian war economy that is collapsing. And lots of economists claim that they don't have enough resources even to survive 2025. And recently there was a good report about that on CNN, analyzing that Russia is running out of any resources for this war, and Putin will definitely try to negotiate. My Ukrainian vision of the peace plan is definitely to defeat and demilitarize, because we know the history of Russia. These are 300 years of wars with democratic countries, freedom-loving countries. Ask Ukraine, ask Georgia, ask Slovakia, ask Serbia, ask Moldova, ask the Baltic countries, ask Poland. We will all prove that the best way to achieve lasting peace in Europe, in the world, is to defeat, demilitarize Russia and destroy their imperial dreams. And we are working on that very well. Hundreds of Ukrainian drones neutralize military objects and send messages to the population of Russia. And I will repeat that, summing up the video. Tonight, Ukrainian drones have worked in Kursk, Bryansk, Smolensk, Tver, Kaluga, Nizhny Novgorod, Belgorod, Rostov, and Leningrad regions. So people living in these regions already know what war is. We do not target what Russia targets in Ukraine. We always choose legitimate military objects, but they do detonate hard. And people make videos of that, and Kremlin pretends nothing happens. This is going to be a huge crack sometime soon. This growing gap between the Russian reality and the fake image that Kremlin transmits via pieces, or how do you call it, of Russian propaganda on Twitter, on YouTube, on Russia TV, in various international organizations, they will be destroyed with this harsh reality. And harsh reality is Russian war is now in Russia. Return to sender. That's what our drones do on daily basis. Hundreds of them, unstoppable, because Russia is weak, like a classical bully. To witness the collapse, discuss the collapse of the evil federation, subscribe and share these videos on your social media platforms and follow me on Blue Sky. Our community is amazing there. But I'm also fighting on Twitter and I do need some soldiers to back me up. Follow me on Instagram for everyday life updates and on Threads. And of course, we have a very good Discord community. Check our merch shop, some good new t-shirts, actually good before spring and St. Valentine's Day. And thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. But most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Together we will win. Slava Ukraini!